This year in first grade, the students will be focusing on learning really great strategies to help them improve their literacy skills. During our literacy block, we will be modeling our time after the Daily 5 and Cafe. This structure in our classroom will really help focus instruction on students' personal needs as well as foster independence in their own literacy achievement. In writing, we will focus on the writing process to help them develop as young writers. And throughout the year, we will build a community of writers who always respect and value the creativity that each of us has to offer. We will have many different opportunities to share our work through Author Shares writing celebrations in our classroom bookstore, where students can purchase each other's books. This is a poster of what the writing process looks like in our first grade classroom. First, students start out with forming their intentions. They ask themselves questions like, what should I write about today? Who might possibly read my writing? And using this information, how am I going to make a plan? Then students start planning. This can look like anything from drawing quick pictures to making a list to using a web. And once the plan is finished, then students start drafting and writing their words that match their plan. We also make sure while we're writing that our writing is making sense, and we do this by constantly rereading what we have already written. Once students have finished their story, they meet with small groups to work on revision. And during a revision conference, a student might read their story out loud twice while other students listen and then ask questions for more, possibly asking for more details. Once revision is completed, students then meet with me. And at the beginning of the year, I hired all of our first grade students to be authors in Miss P's publishing company. So they meet with me, we work on some editing things like maybe a spelling conference, as well as working on conventions in writing like punctuation and sentence structure. And once that's completed, then students get to illustrate and publish their final copies. We have lots of different ways of sharing our writing. One way is that students can sell their books in our classroom bookstore, as well as students might make a video slideshow to go on the iPads that we can then use for listen to read. Here's an example of a finished slideshow for students to listen to read during our literacy block from a student from last year.
Dear Mr. Bus Driver, I do not think you should let the pigeon drive the bus because he's too small. He could hurt other people on the bus. He might crash into a car. He doesn't know how to drive, and he doesn't have hands. From Maddie.
In our first grade classroom this year, students will be also working on spelling practice. Each week, students will have a personalized spelling list. Currently, we've all been using the same list to review our kindergarten words that we are expected to be able to spell by now. And we're doing this so that students can really learn the spelling practice routines. So the first thing that students do is look at the word and they say the word. Then they close their eyes and picture the words in their mind. Then they have to cover the word, then write the word, and then go back and check the word. Some examples of words we've been working on from the kindergarten list are the, you, on, can, and by. During our literacy block, students will be really working on independent work centers starting in the next couple of weeks. Right now, we've been learning each of these activities: read to self, listen to read, featured books, and over the next weeks, we'll be adding in poetry corners, science, social studies, math, Raz Kids, and word work. What will happen is students will do work on writing, their spelling, and then once they complete that, for the rest of the literacy block, they will be independently working on these activities on this listed on this page. There are many different reasons why students are expected to be able to do these things, and the independence created in this really helps them take control of their own learning. While they're working independently on this gives me the time to individually meet with students so we can work on their own goals, as well as meet in small groups so that students can also learn from one another. Right now we have some pictures of our students here doing read to self and listen to read, because those are the two activities we've been building our stamina in so far. As I mentioned earlier, students will have their own individualized goals in both reading and writing to help guide instruction as well as their independent learning time. Students will be working on many different strategies throughout the year, and these are some examples of ones we've been talking about so far: checking for understanding and picking out good fit books. As the year moves on and students get goals that they're working on, I will be sending home a parent pipeline, which explains different strategies as well as gives you tips on how you can help your student at home with their specific strategies.